everyone, and welcome to Roll and Keep, a weekly show where we play, teach, design, and learn settings using the Cortex Prime system. And an extra special greetings, fella humans, because today we are extremely excited to share a new official tale for Tales of Xadia, the official role-playing game for Netflix and Wonderstorm's The Dragon Prince. My name is Mellie, Doucette. I am the community manager for Cortex, and today I will be your narrator and your guide through both the game and the world of Xadia. Folks, if you are not familiar with The Dragon Prince, Cortex Prime, tabletop role-playing games, or fantasy in general, there is nothing to fear because this is not just a live play, this is a live learned play. We'll be telling this new tale and also going over how the game works and plays so you can feel prepared to bring this game to your own table. And hey, if you want to do that, if you want to follow along with the official rules, you can hop on over to talesofxadia.com, where you can pre-order the handbook and find the free rules primer, an introductory tale, and 12 pre-made characters. Speaking of whom, I'm very excited to get to introduce you all to this amazing cast who can share a little bit more about who they will be playing. First up, the designer of Cortex Prime and Tales of Xadia, my dear friend, Cortex creative director Cam Banks. Cam, who will you be playing today?
Hello, Mellie. Thank you for that introduction. That was lovely. I am playing Babakar, who is a Sunfire Elf, a hot-headed fire mage, and believes that simplicity is the best solution for any problem that comes his way.
I love it. And also very happy to welcome back a wonderful member of our Roll and Keep family, Aliza Pearl, actor, writer, improviser, the creator and director of Ripley Improv's monster hunting improvised monologue show, Slay. Hello, Aliza.
Thank you. You killed that intro. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am playing Eljal, a moon shadow elf, who is distinctions are, oh man, I was so ready to just rattle this off and then I clicked away from that page. Okay, I'm a moon shadow elf, a homesick assassin, and I have a song for all occasions. Those are my distinctions as Eljal. And so Eljal continues in the Tales of Xadia.
I love it so much. And welcoming back to the channel, say hello to the wonderful content producer, host for Fandom Tabletop, D&D Beyond and Cortex, the incomparable Amy Dallen.
Hello! I am so excited to be getting into this adventure with this fantastic cast and to get to play with your storytelling, Mellie. I will be playing Dallen. I'm a moon shadow elf. I have a strong bond to nature. I am a moon shadow elf. My other distinctions are passionate mage, friend of the forest, and I can't wait to get into it.
I love it so much, and I already love that accent. It's amazing. And our other amazing content producer and editor for Fandom Tabletop, the amazing other side of the perfect content coin, Michael Galvis.
Oh, Mellie, you're just so sweet. So I am playing Ruthna, a human Neolandian. She is a Neolandian traditionalist, a royal guard, and a blunt braggart. She is so awesome, and I cannot wait to play her.
Awesome, and she's like 7 feet tall and has a really big sword. It's going to be so good. She's a reason to be a blunt braggart, I feel like. And last but most certainly not least, I'm absolutely stoked to have her here. She's a host and producer who's made appearances across MTV, IGN, Disney XD, Smosh, Nerdist, DC All Access, Comic-Con HQ, and just so many more that I couldn't fit them in one breath. Please welcome Trisha Hershberger.
Hi, everybody. I've been on a lot of internets. That is true. Yes, I'm so excited to be here. I am entirely new to this tabletop RPG system, which I'm very, very stoked to dive into. So thank you for having me today. I will be playing, and I'll have to pronunciation check, Vinaya. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Sure,
however you want.
I did it. It's however you want.
All right, I'm going with Vinaya as the pronunciation for this character. She is a human Durenian noble, herald of the queen, and the other distinction that she has is you don't have to remind me because she remembers and researches quite a bit. So I'm enthralled to be here playing with all of you today. Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you. Such an incredible group. I'm very hyped. I'm very stoked. And the business has been business. So I think it is time for us to introduce and begin our Tale of Xadia. It is time for the Gloaming Glade. We open above a moonlit forest in Xadia. The stars twinkle overhead. The moon casts a silver glow across the fluttering wings of moon moth swarms that float over the treetops. And we descend down to watch the light footsteps of a moonshadow elf trudging alone through the shadows. And we hear their voice as they walk. And they say, I have just been banished, ghosted from Moonshadow Society because of my complacency and laziness in dealing with the plague we're suffering. But with your help, perhaps I could gather a rare magical artifact called the Primal Well, bring it to your glade, and you could help affix it to the crack in the rocks at the center. And we see a flash of the memories of such a thing, the Primal Well, a large stone floating, glowing with the primal runes of earth and sky. And we hear their voice continue, I know it has powerful primal magic capable of lifting a large town-sized area, and that such a thing might work. And we see that city from another place, Ineen, floating in the Xadian sky. And we see it crash to the ground, the people safe, the town in ruins. And they continue, if I can find it, will you help me? The figure stops walking and we pan around them as we hear the flutter of wings. A Xadian bird, eyes glowing with a blue radiance, swoops down, landing on the feathery shawl draped over the figure's shoulders. A message is held tight in its claws, and it opens, and the figure takes it, unfurls it, and we see in erratic, claw-scrawled dirt, bring me this primal well, then we'll see. We see the figure's face as their resolve settles. They're a moonshadow elf mage, neither feminine nor masculine, tattoos indicating their rank as an elder. We see Feathershaw as they leave home. They will find this primal well, and they will bring it back here. Many moons later, walking that same forest path in the light of a new day, that's exactly what they've done. This elf, Feathershaw, is not alone now. Traveling with them, their two new allies, friends, maybe, two of the people who helped not only to protect the people of the Sky City in Neen as their city crashed to the ground, but who are helping Feathershaw bring the well to save their people next. Aliza and Cam, could you please introduce your characters for me, starting with you, Aliza?
Yes, Eljal is a tallish, slender moonshadow elf with long, white, kind of shaggy hair, pretty stoic, and doesn't talk much, but when they do talk, they're very focused in on people with whom they're talking. Eljal is an assassin, and if you recognize what a moonshadow assassin wears, then that's what they're wearing. This green, dark blue leather outfit, armor. You see their switchblade at their hip and another blade on their back. They keep things pretty simple. That's Eljal.
I love it. And walking along with Feathershaw and Eljal, Cam, introduce Babakar.
Babakar is a Sunfire elf, and he is a battle mage, tested and proven in the city of Luxoria in defense of the Sunforge, which no longer has the light that it once had. Babakar and his sister Vanetta went out in search of what had happened with this city. He alone now is here and accompanying Eljal, who we had met in this excursion. Babakar is quite tall, as many of the Sunfire elves tend to be. He has a staff with him. You can see the flames burning at the end of it. But he is not, at this point, in sort of like any kind of battle mode. He is more studious, concerned, worried. He's focusing greatly on what Feathershaw is doing and where they're going, because the Primal Well is a vast source of magic, and that kind of magic should not be used lightly.
It definitely is, and Feathershaw is traveling very carefully. They are wearing this armor called the Cuirass of Vuxen rather, which allows them to hold this primal artifact without harming themselves. But they're still cautious about it. They're not maybe quite as brazen as some others might be, as they guide you both towards their home, which they've explained to you is called the Hollow Wood. And they've explained to you that they had to leave, that they let their people down, that they made a big mistake, which is why they needed this. And as they get closer, as you all get closer to where the Hollow Wood is, you can both just see Feathershaw tense more. There's a bit of a nervous energy. You can see they're pretty worried that, you know, they aren't supposed to be here, and they're worried maybe that people won't accept them back, that this won't work, that they won't be able to fix the mistakes that they've made. So you just see as they're just kind of slowing their pace, having to sort of steel themselves and continue walking forward. And they just sort of talk as they do. When we arrive, the two of you will need to go and see the new elder and explain the situation and convince them. You'll need to convince them to take my help, or your help, at least. Maybe don't mention me, I don't know. We're close now. Maybe this is close enough. The problem, above all, unfortunately, is, well, Eljal, you would know. Well, Babuko, you're well read. You would probably also know that Moonshadow villages are locked magically. You won't be able to get inside without the dance key, but if I teach it to you, you'll be ghosted as well. And they look very meaningfully at you, Eljal.
Well, I'm at a loss for what other options we have. We've brought the Primal Well this whole way, and if they need it, if they really need it, then maybe we should take the risk.
I'm not sure if anything will be possible if you can't speak to anyone there. It's simple, as far as Moonshadow key dances go. I think perhaps this might just be something you'll have to get a feel for. Give it a try. I mean, unless somebody happens to walk out that knows what we need to know, it's the only way.
I don't think you need to concern yourself, Feathershaw. This isn't something we need you to be present for. We wouldn't want you to exchange yourself into this situation any further than you have to. We can certainly come back for it. Eljal, what would you say? Were you an elder in one of the villages of the moon as you came from, and a mage showed up from my background and made something of a display? Do you think you would hide in a way and keep it out? Would you send someone out to take care of them, or would you have someone meet them? I'm just wondering, because I have a thought that's brewing in my head.
Any type of unannounced display by an outsider would be probably met with a lot of paranoia and blades, lots of blades.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can at least say perhaps time has changed things. I haven't been gone that long, though. Hollowwood is a little bit of a different place, Eljal, with somewhat different people. And we cut to another scene where we learn Feathershaw is not the only one returning home. We are in the forests again, where two travelers make their way toward the place known as the Hollow Wood. They've made good time coming from the west, but as they get closer and closer, they're slowed down because the local fauna is paying attention and saying hello. We see a stack of Adoraburs kind of leaning, tipping to one side, trying to get around a bush to see who it is that's coming through. We see, a squirrel-like moon creature and its kits poke their head out of a tree hollow and give this little wave with their paws, their 3 tails all just kind of brushing up. And we even see owls awaken briefly to turn their heads and give a pleasant "ooh" in greeting despite the time of day. Amy, could you please introduce the character who's being greeted by all of these magical creatures?
Well, she is just glowing back at them as she heads down this path because Draylen has not been home in a long time. She is a Moonshadow elf, medium height, white hair down on each side with a kind of off-kilter headband and 2 little horns. She has purple skin, like many Moonshadow elves, sort of a richer, deeper purple than some of the others, variation-wise. And this, frankly, incredibly cool aqua outfit that has sort of a vest going on and like this cool brooch in the middle. I'm just saying. But she is sort of happily coming down the road and trying to greet everyone in turn and wishing the owls, "Oh, back to sleep, back to sleep. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love my hometown. I can't wait to show you."
Yeah, and you are speaking to your human companion as you carry on through these woods. Trisha, as Draylen greets all of these creatures and tells you how great everything is going to be, could you introduce your character for us?
Yes, so Vinaya is following Draylen, taking copious notes of these interactions that she's observing. Vinaya is a woman of average height, I would say probably in her late 20s. She is human, so late 20s in human years because she's human. Darker skin, she's adorned in just stunning robes of white and blue with gold accents. And you can tell just from looking at her and the way that she carries herself, she is of noble lineage, or at least perceives herself to be of noble lineage. However you choose to interpret that, that's the attitude that she gives off. And as she is following Draylen through the hollow wood, she's keeping pace, but like I said, also kind of looking all over and looks at Draylen and says, "It really is quite fascinating how they interact with you. Is this always the case here?"
"Oh, is it? Oh, well, I mean, I spend a little more time out here than a lot of my fellow folks, but they're good creatures. Oh, don't touch that one though. That one stinks."
Okay, I will be careful not to touch that one. I am at a loss. Most places that we go, I feel like I am very well prepared for what I'm about to experience, but this is really your territory, so my trust is in you, my friend.
"Have you met an adorable?"
No, I don't believe so. Is that this one over here?
Yes, and I would like to take you by the hand and drag you towards the stack
Oh.
of furry, spiky folks who are sort of leaning around that tree. I think they want to meet you.
Oh, is it safe, or will they hurt me?
No.
Oh, okay. Hello.
You get pulled over and you see just these adorables. They're just these balls of what look like they could be fluff. They've got these eyes, these big smiles, and they seem a little nervous at first as you kind of approach, but like Draylen's presence just calms them entirely and gives them this just wonderful confidence. And you can hear their squeaking sounds, like the most adorable things you could imagine. You can see why they got that name. But as you get closer, you can just almost feel almost like this static cling as like you lift your arm up and attached to your sleeve is just a whole line of adorabers.
Oh, well, they're quite friendly, aren't they? This is very unique for me. Thank you for this experience.
I thought you'd like them.
So you just have these stuck to you, and as you stand and you're observing them, you're kind of enjoying this. It's pretty adorable. You all hear just more squeaking sounds as from this bush that you're next to, it just shakes, and more just start to just tumble out. They just kind of roll a little bit on the ground, and then they're just getting attached to you on your legs, and they're kind of tickling Draylen's feet.
Oh my goodness, this is Draylen. This is magnificent.
Perfect.
And Draylen, as you do that, as you sort of try to get this image, you see another adorable just kind of roll across, and you notice as it rolls, there's another set of tracks here, and not kind of going towards the hollow, but cutting across, you see two heavy-looking sets of prints. And as you see that, you also notice that they kind of like push through the brush in a way that looks a little bit rougher than you're used to, elves moving through here, or even beasts moving through here. Like there's a bit of a break in some of the bushes, some twigs kind of taken off some of the trees. Definitely a couple people, it looks like, came this way.
Can I sort of try to examine it?
Yeah, for sure. It's easy enough just with your, awareness in the forest here, and this kind of being your area. You can see it looks like two prints wearing shoes, so you can't be sure if they're human or elf. You can't tell if they've got 8 toes or 10. But you can also kind of tell that they are pretty large people. Like, seems like there's one that has to be, like 6 to 7 feet tall. The other one also quite tall, quite large. The prints are heavy in the dirt here. And as you kind of look at this and the Adorbor kind of rolls close to it, it just kind of like it jumps a little bit and kind of squeaks with a little hint of just displeasure from it, and like attaches itself to your arm and tries to kind of like roll a little bit up your arm and almost trying to get away from those footprints.
I'll roll it further up my shoulder. I wonder what happened here. It looks like someone's broken through off the road.
Well, do you think this is something we should perhaps investigate? Is this tied into what might be wrong, or the issue with the hollow wood?
I wish we knew. I wish I knew more. I heard everything wasn't right. I have to say, I really appreciate you coming with me to check this out. I've been having a great time learning all about the human lens, but it's been a long time since I was home, and I know it's your job, but I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here, truth be told. Now it is my turn to learn more about these lands. And, glad to repay the favor for all the assistance you've given me. So thank you for having me along with your journey, even though, yes, it is part of my job, as you say. I am tasked to be here, but thank you for making it enjoyable as well.
Oh, of course. And I'll just that one on your head. You don't need that one. I'll just try to get an Adorbor off of the top of it.
Yeah, it takes a bit of pulling, but it does come. Are you guys thinking of following the tracks or continuing towards the hollow wood first?
How far are we from the entrance?
You're not far. You're probably, less than a half hour worth of traveling still to get there.
Should we see what went into the woods?
Yes, I am in no rush. We've got plenty of time, as far as I'm concerned, to complete my mission. I believe your time is of the essence, trying to help whatever ill has befallen here.
Well,
all right.
Maybe it's nothing, but maybe somebody needs our help.
That is
excellent.
True.
So, following these tracks, this sounds like a test. So, in Tales of Xadia, there are a few different types of roles you can do. One of them is a test. So, what's going to happen here is I, as the narrator, I am going to decide how difficult this might be. So, in this case, with these tracks, I'm just going to put this as a, following this through this very heavily bush and tree and forested area can be hard to lose some tracks, but it's not too difficult because of who you are, Draylen. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to call this just challenging, and challenging is going to be 2d8s into this pool. I'm going to roll first as the narrator, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how players roll in this game. So let me roll these dice, see what I get. All right, I got a 7 total. And Amy, so what we do in this game is you've got your character with a set of traits, multiple sets of traits. In fact, you have in Tales of Xadia, you have attributes, which are, very familiar to lots of people who are familiar with any kind of RPG. You got your strength and your agility, your influence. So these are, things that are about you and how you can approach problems and solve them. You also have your values, which are the things that you care about. And each of you also has attached to each of your values a statement that describes how you feel about it. So one of the values is truth. You could have a high value of truth without necessarily being the most honest person in the world, because your statement might mean something different to you. So those are 2 of your first sets. You also have distinctions, which is what we talked about a bit at the top of the show. And your distinctions is a bit of an elevator pitch of your character. And in Tales of Xadia, that will represent your heritage. So for elves, that might be you're a Moonshadow elf, you're a Sunfire elf. For humans, that's going to represent things like for Vinaya, you are from Durin, so you're Durinian, and you are nobility, so you are Durinian noble. Your second distinction is your vocation, so it is what you do. What are your skills? And your final distinction is what makes you special. What's a quirk about you? What is unique about your character? So those are your main traits, which in Cortex is called a prime set. So you have these 3 prime sets, and every time you roll in this game, you're going to take 1 die from each of those sets. So you're going to have at least 3 dice in all of your pools. In addition to those, you also have a couple of other trait sets. You've got specialties, which represent really like hyper-specific skills. So, Trisha, Vinaya has diplomacy. Draylen has her moon magic in there. So those represent, things you are particularly good at. And you will add them to your pool if you are using that skill to accomplish your goal. You also have assets, and assets can be equipment, they can be spells, they can be allies, places, it can be a lot of different things, and the die value associated to that represents how significant they are. And you can add any number of assets as long as they are applied to the narrative and how you're approaching the situation. So you'll add assets and specialties when you use them, and you will add the other traits, always, 1 of each. So when you are going to do something like a test, you're going to say, okay, my goal is I want to follow these tracks. I want to find out where these tracks go. That's the goal here. I've rolled a difficulty of 7. So now, Amy, you have to build your dice pool and tell us how you want to accomplish this goal and build your dice pool.
All right. To follow these tracks through the woods, I feel like I probably want to use my awareness first to add that to the pool. I have a D8, so I'm like medium, fairly good.
D8's pretty good. A D4 is, hey, this might cause more problems than it solves sometimes. A D6 is pretty, standard. A lot of people will have D6 as their lowest because not everybody has those D4s. And D8 is where you start to get, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this. And D10 is like, yeah, this is my thing. I'm really good at this.
And I think for my values, I think that I probably want to use truth. Only the trees and the light that beams through them know real truth.
I love it.
I feel like it applies here. That's a D8 for me. And for my distinctions, I could use my Moonshadow Elf. Obviously, this is my home turf. But I do also have Friend of the Forest. And I feel like Friend of the Forest, like I want to look at all those broken branches, all those how it's supposed to be. So I want to add that one.
I love it.
And I do have some cool specialties and assets, including, as I've just put together, my brooch is one of my assets, but in my head, I didn't realize that's what was in the art until I said it out loud, so now I've made that connection. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to help me with this. It's imbued with moon magic, which I don't think I'm using to follow this path. So
Sounds
maybe might be good to go with my dice pool as is.
I think it looks pretty good.
All right, so 3d8. And I'm gonna roll.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about results in Cortex. Cortex is a roll and keep game. So you roll, you build your pool, you roll your dice, and you're gonna keep 2 of those dice for a total. And then you can have another one, which is an effect die. And the effect die, you don't care about what the dice rolled, you care about what size of die it is, how many sides it has. And that's gonna kind of tell you how well did you, what is the quality of this success or failure? And then as well, if you roll a 1, 1s are hitches, which it looks like you've done because you just knew. You had to make a really great example here. But hitches aren't that bad. So it looks like you rolled a 6 and a 3 on 2 of your d8s. That's a 9. That's gonna succeed here. What it hitches is it lets me as the narrator, I could buy that from you. I could say, I would like to, there's some problem, something went wrong here. and I can give you a plot point. And a plot point is something you can spend later to do lots of cool kind of rule bending and rule breaking things. And it lets me give you some stress. So in this case, I would like to buy that from you. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a plot point. And I'm going to say that that is going to be, let's make that afraid stress. So you're going to get a D6 of afraid stress because as you follow this trail, so you're keeping very well on it. You are definitely able to find, even when the footprints disappear, you see the other signs of what has been here. But you also get a sense from the magical creatures in this area, from the animals in this area, that whatever's leaving these tracks gives you the sense that it might be dangerous. Maybe more dangerous than you've had to deal with in a while. And it just gets that fear kind of sets in you as you just see as animals have sort of left this area. The more you follow this, the less creatures you see, the more the adorabers on you and Vinaya drop off. They leave you. They roll away. They don't want to follow where you're going.
Raylan, are you feeling all right? You look a little worried.
Well, something's definitely wrong, Vinaya. There should be more creatures. Look, they're leaving. Come back. What? Something's not right.
What would cause the creatures to leave? Has something like this happened before in the Hollowoods history?
I don't think so. It's pretty quiet. I mean, a nice busy town. Lots going on, lots of people in and out, but not much trouble.
All right. Well, it seems like we may be needed more than we thought. Onward then?
Yes. Mellie, may I ask, is there a way on my incredibly cool digital thing to track my stress?
Yes, so on the, I believe, left-hand side, there should be an option to go into your stress. Should be one of the options on the left sidebar.
The one that says modify stress that I was accidentally just
You
clicked into
got
the
it.
menu, so I stopped seeing it. You're very
Don't
kind.
worry.
Hey, I had to look for it too, Amy. There's no shame.
Yes.
I was just reading about my own abilities. It was very
It's
distracting.
perfect. But yes, you have a D6 of that, and although this tool will let you put in a D4 of stress, in Tales of Xadia, there is no D4 stress. It's always a D6, and if that goes away, it'll go down to nothing. So right now, you've got that D6. So as you're continuing down this path, feeling a little afraid, but you're going to push past it, and we are going to cut to the sharp end of a crossbow. And we hear a gruff voice say, "Steady now." And we see a Delbarian human standing off to one side, a pretty wide guy, pretty tall, standing off to one side, holding this small sack in one hand, arms crossed one over the other. He's got his hair shaved down right to the scalp and this necklace of huge teeth around his neck. And then we pan and we see what the crossbow's aiming at. We see this plump, pheasant-like creature with dusk blue feathers pecking for insects in the ground, oblivious. And as we travel up the crossbow, we see the person holding it. Michael, could you introduce your character for us?
Oh, yes. My name is Ruthna. Her pronouns are she, her. She is easily 7 foot tall, if not just slightly under that, but she would definitely tell you she's 7'2" at the least. She's proud and loud, and she is dressed in this light armor that's sleeveless, and it looks more decorative than actually providing any sort of protection. At her side, you would find a giant broadsword weighing 100 pounds has been stuck straight into the earth, sinking a couple feet with the amount of force that she thrust that blade into the soil. She has yellowish eyes, and as she's holding this crossbow, correct me if I'm wrong, if I am not the one holding the crossbow.
You are, yeah.
Okay, she is looking down the sights. Oh, okay, here we go. And then she grabs something fluffy that she just grabs it and just like squishes it and just tosses it aside. Says, dang, thanks.
Oh my goodness.
I'll never forget the time I found one of those colossal versions of that. I forget what they're called. Adora Colossals. Yeah, I came rolling down into the midnight desert. I took it down with one fell swoop, but it was a mighty battle nonetheless. Here we go.
And he just chuckles, your companion here, Mencken. He chuckles at this. Maybe you can't tell, but if anybody was watching, they could tell that he does not believe your story, not in the slightest. But hey, he's gonna stay quiet. He's not gonna comment on anything because you're trying to get some dinner. So go ahead. We're gonna do a test here as using Mencken's crossbow to try and get this pheasant. You're giving this a try. He's letting you use his crossbow. See if you can actually hit this thing. He's told you he doesn't think you can. So I'm going to go ahead and roll here. I'm going to go ahead and again, I think this is just going to be 2d8s. This is not your type of weapon. You are an up close and personal kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and call this challenging. I'm going to roll 2d8s here. You got to beat an 8. So Michael, can you go ahead and build a dice pool for us?
Sure. I do have a clarification question for you.
Please.
Would something like a crossbow use my agility or my strength? I'm imagining agility.
Probably not your strength, because it is definitely something that, it has a lot of the mechanisms. If it was a bow, you could argue strength, I think.
All right, sweet. So
you can use intellect if you really want to try to, triangulate.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
No, dude, use intellect. It's a great idea for you. I think it'll be great.
So I'm gonna start with agility. I am feeling a bit of glory. There's a story to be told here, and I'm gonna, if I land this blow, I'm gonna gloat about it for sure. So my pride is on the line here.
Oh yeah.
And thinking distinctions. Maybe a what do you suggest, Mellie? I have Neo-Landian Traditionalist, Royal Guard, and Blunt Braggart.
Yeah, so there's a few options here. I think one thing you could do, and then it's a great opportunity to explain this rule as well, is your distinctions, they're all a D8. They're all rated the same. However, you can hinder them, which is saying, hey, actually, this distinction is maybe causing a problem here instead of helping me out. So then you use a D4 instead, but you get a plot point, which you can use later when things are maybe more important or you want to do something really cool.
Awesome.
So maybe a blunt braggart.
Yes, because I'm in the middle of talking about how amazing I am, and I'm sure that creature could probably hear me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and roll.
Love it. Ooh, look at that. You needed a 9, and that's exactly what you got.
Of course, I'm very skilled.
It's so good. The bolt flies true, and we cut to afterwards. Mencken is kind of gathering it up, actually giving credit where credit's due. He's like, Ralphna, I'd say I didn't think that you could aim for your life, so I'm pretty impressed.
Oh, sure. It's the kind of training that we get. What do you think that thing weighs? 50, 60 pounds? It looks pretty massive from where I'm standing over here.
He holds up the sack that he's put it in. I'd say a good 3. And
Oh, yeah, no, I know. You're just mighty strong, don't you? I know my weights.
Yeah. He pushes the sack into your hands. And you notice something a little weird on the ground where that pheasant had been. This kind of just like weird black, almost like leech-like worms. In case, this might have been what that bird was eating. And you just watch as this, slithering black thing just kind of, its tail sort of waves a little bit and it digs itself into the ground quite quickly as you watch it. All right, now, how's about I find it's a good spot to camp out. There's a Moonshadow town not far from here. Get the lay of the land. See if you can find any talk about what we're looking for. And then we'll cook these up and have some dinner. Yep.
Yeah, sure thing. And I'll pick up my broadsword, sling it over my shoulder, just looking around, and I just wander off in a direction, just hacking away at any overgrowth that's in this area. Just taking no mind.
Yeah, I imagine you've got this one path that you both arrived here through, hacked away. You pick a different path and
Yeah.
start hacking. Eventually, though, you do circle back to a path, and you're like, "Whoa, this is a nice path." Maybe not realizing that you've hacked this path already, and you start to head down this way. And as you do, Vinaya and Draylen, you can hear the approaching heavy footfalls of a person. What would you like to do?
I look over there.
Be careful, do you hear that?
Yes.
Is
Someone's coming.
is this the thing that we've been tracking, perhaps?
Should we hide?
Yes, yes, I think so.
And you turn to each other to have this conversation, and as you decide, yes, we should hide, Rauthna, you are standing above them, and you hear them say that, and you look around wondering, like, what there must be to hide from.
I can see them.
You are standing, like, literally, you're right in, like, 2 feet away, just towering over them as they have this conversation, like, turned away from you.
So still, I sling the blade back over my shoulder and looking down at them and just say, I'm mighty big, but I could be rather stealthy too. Bet you didn't hear me coming.
Who are you? State your business.
Well, I think I should be asking you that. You've just wandered into my camp. This is my place.
We heard you coming a mile away. What are you doing? What, did you pick a fight with the forest?
I don't know what you mean picking a fight with the fort. Although I've had my quarrels with some talking trees. I think they've come down on me at some times, but nothing a little fire can't handle. Am I right?
Oh,
Who are you?
Her name's Rauthna. You want some food? We just I just killed a mighty beast. Must have been at least 70 pounds or so, but it kind of wandered off, but it left its young, and then I got its young, and then I already ate most of it, and so we only got one piece left. So, but that one's cooking up. It'll be good for probably 3 of us.
Rauthna, your words reek of deception, but it is kind of you to offer your food and sustenance. Draylen, I leave it up to you.
Oh, I want to see this camp of yours.
Oh, sure. Here. And I just look about, forgetting which way I came from, pick a new direction, but in the general direction.
There, you came from like an elephant going through the forest. You came from there.
Now I'll continue back, just kind of like swinging away. There's not much that's going to be in my path, I think, but you run into those stray branches and such that you miss on the first go. So I take care of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're kind of going down this path, Rauthna leading the way for the both of you. And as you go, I mean, there's a few paths that go off of kind of what you're walking on, but you can see Draylen and Vinaya have been taken care of and clear-cut in the exact same fashion as this one. And Rauthna kind of starts going down this path, and then you emerge from this clearing, and Draylen, you know where you are. Rauthna, you thought you knew where you were, and Vinaya, you don't. As you arrive just near the area where the town of the Hollow Wood is. Not unlocked, there's no Moonshadow, the Moonshadow key dance has not been used, but you do see another Moonshadow elf, an assassin, and a Sunfire elf, dressed in mage's attire, both practicing Moonshadow dance moves, and off to the side, you see another Moonshadow elf, a mage draped in whites and teals and purple with white hair, a feathery shawl, standing off to one side, kind of with this impressive-looking relic next to them. And Draylen, you recognize this person. This is Tuluan. This is the elder of the Hollowwood. This is your elder.
Ah! Tuluan! It's me, Draylen!
Draylen, and just kind of like looks to the side, and sees looks to Eljal, looks to Babakar. This is Traylon, and then takes in Vinaya and Rothna. Traylon, you've been gone for some time. Eljal, Babakar, this is Traylon. Traylon, I actually use, Eljal, Babakar, my name is Tuluan. I've just sort of taken to the whole feather shawl thing. Traylon, this is actually perfect. Do you just, again, getting distracted by like Vinaya and more Rothna.
This is my friend Vinaya. We've been very busy in the Human Kingdoms. I have so many stories. This one I've just met.
Oh,
Pleasure to meet you. I'm afraid of, we don't have enough food for this whole crew, but I'm more than happy to, pick up an extra creature or two to cook up.
So, I'm like mid trying something at this point. I've got the staff above my head, and I'm kind of going, no, it's like this. Oh, like this. And then that's when all this introduction gets made. I look ridiculous, and I instantly realize that is the case. And I'm like,
Same. I might have noticed them sooner than Babakar, just because I'm always on high alert.
absolutely.
But I also I recognize Routhna, but I'm very taken aback by the fact that Feathershaw has a different name that they've been giving us for all this time, weeks and weeks. And so that's what I say. So Talua, was it Talua?
Tuluan is my name. And really quick, Aliza, actually, the tale that we did with High Rollers, just a sidebar, is actually outside of kind of the canon that we have. So Rothna will be new to you in this situation. Just to do a rewind there. Shout out to Script Change by Bo Sheldon. But yes, Tuluan is my name. Yes, I didn't mean to mislead.
Why? Why?
Oh, when I left, I took the feather shawl and folks away from home, it was something they would refer to me as, and I just decided to use it as a bit of a pseudonym as I traveled.
To be honest, I always thought it was kind of weird that your name was Feathershaw and you wore a feather shawl. I was like, did their parents know that they would be into feather shawls when they named them that? Right.
Yes.
I really did have that question though, so this makes a lot of sense.
I appreciate.
I don't know why you didn't get that the whole time, Eljal.
Really?
It's clear that it's a pseudonym, and that this entire time, Tuluan's circumstances have led to them having adopted something else as a name. So I think we should leave it there, because obviously it's causing some distress. I'm most concerned about the fact that, are you hunting things here? And I'll look at Rothna.
Oh, well, sure. This physique, can't be maintained off of some grass and leaves. I gotta get my fair share of meat.
Can we just clarify again? You're hunting things in the woods here.
Here.
For what? To eat them?
Well, sure. What else? Although, I have to admit, I have tamed my fair share of creatures. There was this one ambler. Lassoed it down myself.
No, that's not what you do. You ignoramus human
Traylon,
monster. What?
Is this your friend as well?
No! Just met in the woods just now. Very impressive muscles, but quite rude.
No, and please do not assume that she speaks for all of the humans. Tuluan, are you the regent of these parts? Would you consider yourself the leader?
Well, no. Not anymore. Traylon, there's been some problems in the Hollowwood, and I wasn't able to fix. That's not right. I made them worse. I made them worse, and I had to leave to try to fix it. And also because I was ghosted.
Why?
There's a plague of some kind affecting our crops. I didn't think it was as serious as it was. I didn't deal with it, and it's become more and more of a problem. So I found something that I think will help. I did. And you may be just the solution we need. Do you remember the key dance to get into the Hollow Wood?
Oh, I think so. It's been a little
Right.
while.
Wonderful. So you can get them in, and talk with Gwen. And I believe right before I left, she was made the elder. She should still be, and maybe don't necessarily mention me, but mention that we have a solution, a potential solution. We can fix this, and as much as everything that you have going on, and gestures to you, Rautna, sometimes we need muscle, and this may be one of those times. So, if you'd like to help, this town could use all it could get.
Poor thing. You poor helpless little thing. But of course I will help you. I gladly. I have saved so many elves, so many kinds of kin in my time. Goodness, I will have to write. I'm gonna hold on a second. I pull out a little journal, just write down. Time to save a town, Rathna. Yes, this is gonna be a good chapter. This close
Talluin, have you tried parlaying with this new elder that you speak of?
I'm not able to. No one there can see me, can hear me. If I even help somebody enter town, they won't be seen or heard either. So I have come with this relic, the primal well, which I believe may be able to do something, maybe raise our crops out of the earth, something. But Shrelin and Eljal Babukar, before I left, I sent a message to Oslumina, and I got a response. She may be able to help. Perhaps if it's all right with you all, if I send her another message that I got the primal well, that we're here, and that we'll go and see her later at nightfall. Is that all right?
There's sort of a war on Draylen's face where she can't contradict Elder Talluin, but sending a message to Oslumina, she doesn't just her face is just trying to make every expression at once while she processes. I'm sorry, Elder, did you say send a message to Oslumina?
Yes. Some things need to be done. And as chief, sometimes it's a conversation that needs to be had. If she can help us save our town, it's worth trying.
You might want to explain a little more about who we're talking about here, Talluin. Is this another regent, someone else who stepped in to take your place now that you've been ghosted?
No, Oslumina is a moon-phase dragon.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part?
A moon-phase dragon?
Ruthna, you could just see Ruthna salivating. Oh, cool.
Mellie, what do I know about dragons, especially the ones that are from here? Obviously, I'm quite familiar with Sol Regum and everybody with dragons, but this is a new one on me.
Yeah. What is your intellect die?
It is a 10. D10.
10. I feel like I wouldn't make you roll for that. I think that confidently you would be familiar with moon phase dragons as a concept, and you would know a little bit about how they work. You probably don't know Oz Lumina specifically, but you have a wide enough knowledge of dragons and primal sources that you definitely know. A moon phase dragon is only fully formed during the phase of the moon in which they hatched. Otherwise, they are just they're almost ghosted. They're just translucent wisps of being. You'd be aware of that, and of course they're dragons, and dragons are pretty serious business when it comes to Xadia.
And probably super rare, correct? I mean, I don't think that.
Extremely rare.
Okay.
And would I know anything about moon-faced dragons or Oz Lumina?
What is your intellect?
D6.
D6. We can try to do a test here if you'd like.
Yeah.
You may take some stress if you fail. And this, I would say, this is you kind of just going back into all kind of the folk history that you're familiar with. And this is going to be not too easy, I'm going to call this 2d8s, but I think there's an extra d6 of challenge here because there's some secrecy regarding this creature.
Okay.
So it's going to be 3 dice. So would you like to do that test?
Yes, I'd love to.
All right, let me roll for you. All right, I got a 9. So 9 is what you've got to beat.
Okay. So I'm going to put in my, you said intellect, right?
You could use a different one if you can argue for why you think it would apply.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of the other ones apply better than
Intellect
does. Yeah. So intellect and maybe truth. Oh God, that's my worst one though.
That's
maybe.
even better.
You can look at some of your value statements. I have just a memory. I'm not looking at the sheet. What's your devotion statement?
I am open to new bonds as I search for my path.
Right. I think you have one.
I've traveled far and hope it was for a purpose. I have yet to find true balance in this world. I yearn for the security of my old home. I rely on my deadly skills during this trying time. And then truth is, facts only matter if they help get the job done.
Well, there you go. What do you think fits best?
I think I've traveled far and wide and hope it was for a purpose. Maybe it's like, maybe there's, finding out about these new types of dragons could lead to some other type of glory and adventure. So
absolutely. And maybe it's, if I have heard of this, it's led me here.
Yeah.
All connects back.
Okay.
And which value is that?
That one was my glory. And then for my distinction, I would say Moon Shadow Elf.
I like it.
Yeah. Moon. I don't know.
Moon.
There has to be a connection, right? All right, I'm gonna roll. Oh, that's pretty good.
That is very good. So you have heard of moon phase dragons, same information that Babukar is aware of, probably less in the academic sense, like it's more of in a folkloric sense of this, this type of creature that, would be something that would often be revered by moon shadow elves. And as well, I think there'd be like something that feels familiar about Oz Lumina, like just some tale you've heard specifically about her that just gives you a sense of maybe something that you can't quite put your finger on. And I'm going to give you your effect. I was a D6. I'm going to give you a D6 asset.
Okay.
Of memory of Oz Lumina, we're going to call it. And you can bank that and you can use it at one point to basically call out that you've remembered this thing and it is going to apply to that situation.
Lovely. And is that a one-time use or is it something that will...
That's going to be a one-time use.
Okay.
So
all right.
Hang on to that until you want to use it. It is banked. So that's what you know about this. Vinaya as well, you have very high intellect. You have this Chronicles of Ilarion. I think you would also be familiar with the lore of moon phase dragons, but not necessarily like in full, like you would believe 100% that they were real dragons. Like, other dragons are real, but these seem almost fairy tale like. So you're kind of like going back and being like, okay, so maybe those were real, they weren't just stories, and kind of connecting into the same information that Babukar knows as well. Routhna knows nothing about let me just cover that.
So when I hear that name Aslumina, that definitely takes me aback even more than the feather shawl name. And I say, wait, you're telling me that Aslumina is real?
Yes. Yes, real and here, at the center of the Hollow Wood in the Glade.
But we don't go in there.
No, we don't go in there. We don't go near it. Her assistant, her protector, is quite good at keeping people out, but she did respond positively. So
She's
it
not
is
a
possible.
prisoner, is she? She's not being held against her will.
Well, she's not here by her own choice.
I just thought she lived there.
It's complicated and beyond even my years. It is possible that whatever we do, there may need to be some kind of trade, perhaps, but if we could save our home, sometimes trades need to be made.
So what you're saying, and you see Eljal is now pacing. So what you're saying is that this folk story about this amazing dragon Aslumina is real, and Aslumina might need to be rescued, and we could maybe do that? Is that what you're telling me?
Rescued, perhaps, is not the correct word, but she's here. And I'm going to take that as a yes, I can send that message. Draylen, is that all right?
Oh, of course, Elder Toluan, or Toluan?
Tuluan.
Toluan.
No, it's been a long time since we saw one another.
I can't just call you by your name. It feels wrong. But if you say that's what we've got to do, and if you say she can help, looking up at Routhna, I turned to Vinaya. I would love. Are you in?
Me? Well, Tulu and I apologize. I have not properly introduced myself. I am here as on behalf of the Queen, if you will. I wanted to make sure everything was right here, and it certainly appears that everything is not right, and I apologize. In my note-taking, I may have missed. Did you give us the name of the new elder in charge of these parts?
Yes, so assuming it hasn't changed, it would be Elder Gwenin.
Elder Gwenin, yes. And so if we rescue or perhaps kidnap, you've been a little unclear on the details, this mythical dragon, would this maybe take the new Elder Gwenin and put the Queen in her favor, or her favor with the Queen? I'm all about keeping the peace, if you will, and making sure that everything is as it should be. In your estimation, would this end with this same goal?
Well, I believe that the Hollowwood is one of the most important places in all of Xadia. Perhaps I'm biased because this is my home, but what I was saying, Eljal and Babukar, before, that the Hollowwood is a different kind of place. That more than just Moonshadow Elves live here, humans can visit and not be accosted in ways they may be elsewhere, which, considering the events at the Stormspire and at Luxaria, I think that having a place like the Hollow Wood survive is certainly beneficial to both elves and humans.
I would agree with that. Draylen, you know the culture here better than I do. I'm simply making sure I do not misstep as someone who is not natively from this land. If you think it is wise that we proceed, then I am in.
Poland wouldn't mislead us, no. And if we can help this place, it's my home.
I think would also be a very good idea if we had humans to just end this misstepping that they've been making and looking back at the past and the general chaos around it. Who is responsible for the humans while we're in the Hollywood? Dallen, is that going to be yours?
I speak for myself. I am here on behalf of the Queen. I do not think I need a babysitter.
Well,
I gotta agree with this one.
yeah,
Nobody keeps an eye on me. I keep an eye on everyone else. I mean,
I'm
look,
still looking at Dallen. They're quite loud and talking a lot. Who is going to speak for them so that we can have this conversation clearly with the elder when we get inside?
Vinaya.
Is going to speak for herself.
Well, now can you?
No. I think you're misunderstanding me. Who is going to speak for them on behalf of them in the Hollywood? Because all I'm hearing is noise, and it's really kind of.
Come on, easy. Look, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. You know, look, I'm just here on vacation. Okay, I'm just passing through here on a little adventure of my own.
Just savagely cutting through elven woods like nothing. Look, I understand that
I want to stare intensely up at Routna. Did you say you wanted to save this village?
Oh, sure. I don't see why not. I go on all manner of little side quests. You know.
No?
There's this.
Yes or no?
Yeah, of course. I don't see why not.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. We're very glad to have you. If you could please follow our lead. Have you been in the Hollywood before?
I would like, of course, just, once we do find this sun phase dragon, maybe we could have I could just have a word with them. Just a short conversation. Nothing serious. Just.
That's a maybe. It's a moon phase dragon, but are you on board?
It's on my wish list. So, yeah.
I'll take that as a yes. No killing, right? No destruction inside the town, and preferably in these woods.
What do you think I am, a barbarian? I'm not going to destroy anything in the town.
That's exactly what you are.
Eljal kind of side eyes Dallen.
Well, I wish I could go in with you and help, Dallen, but I can't. So I will wait here. We can meet up later, and perhaps you can help teach these others the key dance. And I will try not to correct anyone, as that may have unforeseen side effects. And Dallen. So we're going to discover the Hollow Wood Dance. It's been a long time since you've been here. You don't even quite remember it. Because you are from here, though, you get a bonus asset. So you get a D6 that you're going to get to add to your attempt here. And everybody's going to have to succeed in this. But if somebody succeeds, they can also give a D6 asset to the next person to try to do the dance, because they're seeing how it's done. So we're going to start with Dallen, because she's teaching everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and roll. It's only 2d6s. Like Tuluan said, it's not the most complicated Moon Shadow Key dance, but some people may have some difficulty with it. Roll this. Okay, I got a 7 for you. Oh, actually, I forgot that you have stress. One moment. I'll re-roll that. Got this little bit of fear that settled in you, and even though, hey, you kind of found the source of that, you're still wondering about the creatures moving away from that path. You're thinking about the dragon, you're thinking about Tuluan, and there's a lot going on here. So this is going to apply to this, going to get you a little bit out of your own head. Still a 7. And there is a narrator hitch, which is called an opportunity. So you could purchase this if you'd like, and you can use it to get rid of your stress. You can use it to step up an asset.
I would like to purchase it.
All right. A plot point? Would you like to step up an asset, or would you like to step down your stress?
Can I step up my knowing the dance asset and then pass it forward along the line?
You wouldn't be able to pass it forward, but you can definitely make it easier for yourself if you'd like.
All right, let's do that. I will try to do that.
Okay. So you spend a plot point, and you're going to get to have a D8 instead of a D6 for your familiarity with this dance, and then build us a dice pool.
All right. How do I add my special D6 that you've granted me to this roll?
Yes, so in the top right, you'll see a little D12 button up there. You can open up that panel and drag and drop your D8 over into your pool.
All right, we will start with the die of remembering the dance. It's been a little bit. It hasn't come up. I haven't practiced it. The arm movements are a bit fiddly, but if, I think it's one of those, you know it until you need to show for people. You know, you don't think about it, but I think that this is going to be... I can't argue that this is spirit, can I? Probably
I
more
feel
of
like
the-
this would definitely be spirit. I love
Yeah.
that for this. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna use my D10 spirit on there, and then I
believe in you, Draylen.
Aw, thank you. Well, I mean, then that kind of makes me want to add my devotion, which is I can improvise many a spell if it means saving my beloved friends.
Yes. I think that's a great pick. Look
Thank
at that.
you,
Look at
Maya.
2 D10s.
That's a nice dice pool.
And then I will go Moonshadow Elf because this is my home. It might have been a while, but I know it's in the body somehow.
Love it.
Unless it's gonna hinder me. No, let's not get fancy. Let's just do this. And then, yeah, I think that'll do it for me. And I'm gonna go ahead and roll. And let's see as I kind of do some stretches as a just, you know, making it. It gets a bit rusty. I mean, it's quite simple. You know, I have a weird kink in my shoulder. And I'm rolling, and 14.
Woohoo!
Hey.
Hey, that is what we call a heroic success. You get a heroic success when you get 5 or more than the difficulty. And as a bonus, we're going to give away a Cortex Prime Game Handbook digital copy in the chat for a heroic success. So thanks, Amy, for that. So one of the things that happens is your effect die is going to step up to a D12 from a D10. So it means that you succeeded at like the best possible level. So it's very much like you're a little nervous, like maybe I forgot it. Now there's all these people watching me, and Tuluin is watching me, and it just comes to you. You just kind of connect into that memory, and you probably do it more perfectly than you've actually ever done it. And because you got a heroic success, I'm also going to go ahead and step up the die that you're giving to the next person, so it'll be a D8. Who is going to go after Draylen?
That's just
I'll
like
go.
that.
I'll go. That looks simple enough. I can take care of it.
Love it. All right, Michael's gonna go next. Let me go ahead and roll your difficulty here, which is 2 D6s. Ooh, only a 6. I did get an opportunity here. You can purchase that to step up an asset. That includes the asset you just got, which is that D8. Or you can leave it there. Somebody else might want to buy it.
I would love to buy it, like, because
Do it.
I need to outdo Draylen, right?
All right.
Like, that was a fantastic performance. I've done this dance before. You know, we've done some variation of it, but yeah. Here we go.
Awesome. So spend a plot point, and you get to step that D8 up to a D10 for your roll. So you get that D10 bonus asset, and then go ahead and build a dice pool for us.
Okay.
Oh, I'm excited for this.
So do I, with that bonus, do I like add in, for example, I was going to put in agility.
Yeah.
I just step that up to a D10.
So you're gonna step up. You get an extra die. So in that top right, you're gonna see that D12 icon, and you're gonna grab a D10 and drag that into your pool.
Delicious.
Just a bonus.
Delicious.
Yeah.
And then gotta choose glory.
Oh yeah.
Gotta choose glory. Oh gosh, for all of my talk, I've actually never done this dance. This is out of game, so I'm gonna take Neolandian Traditionalist. I'm gonna take a D4 for that because I only know traditional dances. Does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that definitely Neolandian traditional dances probably aren't the same as Moonshadow key dances. I feel like that sounds legit. So you spent a plot point to get that opportunity, but then you just got a plot point for doing that. So you're still at 2 plot points. Looks really good.
All right, let's roll it. And roll.
Oh, very nice. So that is going to be another heroic success, and in fact, am I doing that? No, not quite a double heroic success, but pretty close. I will say that one of the things you can spend your plot points to do is that you can add a die that you haven't used yet to your total as an extra die. If you did that in this situation, you'd have a double heroic success, which would push your effect die up 2 times instead of once, which would mean that you did at least as well as Dallen.
Yes, absolutely. I need to do that.
Zero hesitation. The way is
GM
clear.
making things competitive.
So you spend your plot point there, but hey, you then having 17, which is a double heroic success, another giveaway in chat, and you step your D8 effect die up 2 times in order to have a D12 effect die, same as Dallen. So I'm going to do the same thing. You can pass a D8 on to the next person, and Rethna, describe how this dance is for you. That it's perfect. So go ahead and describe that.
So it is a slight variation of Dallen's. I mean, I know that there's a sort of very specific way of doing the dance, but Rafna does it in a very rough, very stiff kind of way. So like as she's hitting the different movements, you can see that she's just kind of like pausing for a second, and you see her kind of fighting against herself to like go into some other movement, but she is just focused and just repeating Dallen's movements over and over in her head as she does this. But then at the end, she finishes the dance, and then she adds a little flourish at the end and does a spin.
Outstanding. All right, and a D8 is going to go to whoever is next, who is following Rethna's maybe surprisingly incredible rendition.
I look flabbergasted.
If I may, as I kind of like walk back to the group, I will look at Babukar, excuse me if that's the wrong pronunciation, and go, I'd like to see you do that. And I'll give you the D8.
Yeah, love it. So good. I love party conflict. I'm going to go ahead and roll
It's
your
the
2d6s.
It's the 2 D10 glory characters that really makes this the worst.
It works so well. So the butting of heads, elfin, human, D10 glory, 2d6s for you, Cam. A 9. I didn't make this one easy.
Ooh.
I could have just gone ahead and done the hitch thing as well, and I would have been happy with that. That would have been cool.
Can you just roll a hitch for me, please?
I would like to request 1 to 2 hitches.
All right. And so let's move over to this. I'm going to say that initially the whole point of this is agility and dancing and getting the movements right. Earlier, before they showed up, I was trying to sort of figure this out with Algel, but we didn't have anyone really giving us a demonstration because Tulum was like describing it, not teaching it. Anyway, I'm thinking that I want to use awareness here and sort of remember what everyone else was doing. I was paying attention as opposed to I'm going to try and, agility here. So I'm drawing on that. So it's awareness. I'm not going to cheat and say intellect because that would be unfair. Click there. This is definitely glory. I don't know why we would even talk about anything else. So that's
I love it.
I've got simplicity is the best solution as my SFX. I always think that that's what we should do. We should go straight for the best way is that.
So what you're saying is you shouldn't add a flourish to the end of the dance.
And in fact, I have an SFX. I have one called Straight to the Point, which is I spend a plot point and either gain a D8 asset or step up an existing asset when undertaking a challenge because of your keen insight. So I'm going to go ahead and double up this whole situation. I know I've got one coming in from Ralphna, which is the whole like here, like, you know, tossing over to you in the face off dance off. But I'm going to grab that and my own insight that I'm going to be able to bring into it. So I'll spend my plot point and add that D8. Okay.
Well, that's gonna gain. Never mind. Ignore me.
And also the D8 you said from
Ralphna.
Yeah, so it's those two.
Ooh.
But and the simplicity is the best solution is also the distinction I'm using. So that's like 3
Okay.
D8s.
That's a
I have
big
no
pool.
specialties that
Wow.
apply. If I tried using sun magic right now, it would completely ruin the whole problem of the moon thing, and I don't.
Yeah, probably. I don't think Moonshadow key dances use a lot of fire or sunlight.
Yeah.
Just
No,
a guess.
not so much. So, all right. Yeah. So I'll roll that. Hopefully, I don't completely botch this up, which would be really embarrassing for Babaka, but we'll see.
Oh, hitch.
Yeah. Whoops! All hitches.
Ooh.
All one hitch.
It's a very good total, though.
I got.
Yeah.
So you don't have any plot points to push that up to a 20.
I do not. In fact, and I can't use the hitch that I might get from the pop from the hitch for this one roll. So I'm stuck with what I've got.
Yeah. It's all about the phases of your roll. So as you build your dice pool, if you gain any plot points during that phase, you can't spend them until you've rolled those dice. And if you gain any plot points from getting a hitch spot from you, you can't spend that until after the dice roll has been resolved. I'm definitely going to go ahead and buy that from you. Of course
yeah.
I am. And I think I would like to give you an injury. I would love to. I'd love to give you. You can tell me what it is, but I think you're not a dancer, and I think that you're maybe trying to really do a great job because of what Ralphna just said. So I think you pushed maybe a little too hard, but that is also heroic success. So another giveaway in chat. This dance is like the best thing ever for chat. I love it. Dance party. That boosts your effect die up to a D10, which is fantastic. So go ahead and describe to us and tell us what that injury is.
Okay, so what happened was I was doing this whole thing. I'm just going completely not doing any flourishes, nothing else. And at the last minute, I do this strange turn that they're supposed to do. And because if I had let myself go a little bit and sort of step up to the Ralphna's, challenge there, I could have done something cool and been fine. But no, I pulled myself in, and you see the last thing I did was I turned around and hamstring myself. And it's quite obvious on my face that this happened, but I'm letting it go. And then once the dance is done, I will quietly step aside and figure out what on earth to do with this. So I've pulled a muscle in my leg, and I'm not happy.
Did Ralphna just go, you okay there?
I'm fine. As you can see, completely mastered it.
I'll give credit where credit's due. It was a good dance.
And I'm going to send that over to Aljal.
Love it. All right, Eljal, the Moonshadow Elf, gonna try this unfamiliar Moonshadow key dance. You only gotta beat a 4, and you have a
okay.
D6 from Cam.
All right.
Is
So
it skipped up though, because I've got a heroic success?
So I was doing it because they got a D12 on their effect dice, because they just did it perfectly that I stepped that up. So it's just a D6 from you.
okay. So let me throw that D6 in. And definitely agility. I mean, gotta use what you got. I think devotion. I'm open to new bonds as I search for my path. I'm literally only doing this. Well, not only. Now glory also is at play. But this devotion to help out Tulaman and check out these other Moonshadow elves. And then my distinction is definitely Moonshadow elf as well.
Love it.
And yes.
All right, give those a roll. Oof. Well,
okay.
It's a double heroic success.
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna step up your effect die to D8, so it's pretty good. But those 2 hitches, oh
Ugh.
goodness. I'm gonna go ahead and say, as you're thinking about this, as you're thinking about Tuluan, you're thinking about this phase dragon, you're thinking about home. And you start thinking about home and remembering that Tuluan's ghost, and this is what it's like going back home and being ghosted, that you can't even bring anybody else in, that you just have to sit outside and watch other people come and go. And the people you know won't remember you, won't see you, and I'm gonna give you insecure stress. So I'm gonna go ahead and that's gonna, by 2 hits, I'd give you 1 plot point for those, and that's gonna put that up to a D8 insecure stress.
Okay.
But your dance was successful. A D8 is a pretty solid dance. If you'd like to describe a little bit of how that comes across, please do.
Yeah, I think you all would notice about halfway through the dance. The first half of the dance is quite precise and fluid. I'm using my assassin agility to kind of flow through the moves. And then halfway through it, you see it, I kind of get this look on my face of sadness. And that sadness kind of flows into the dance as well. So it becomes a little bit more somber of a finishing move on the dance.
So there's this kind of just, we go from Babukar and Rothna sort of just having this maybe not so friendly competition. And then as Eljal finishes, there's sort of just a little bit of a dour note that just sits on top of everything. As Vinaya, you're the only one left to do this dance. You get a D6 from watching Eljal, but there's also just, it's a little awkward at this point. How would you like to approach this?
Okay, so Vinaya is noticeably off her game when it comes to this. She's not really a dancer. That's not really what she does. But, she is going to... She's meticulously watched everyone else's dances so far and tried her best to count out the steps and the rhythm of it, since she's not someone who naturally feels the rhythm and moves it. So I would like to use intellect for this.
I will give it to you for that sale, and I'm going to go ahead and roll difficulty for you here. So it's going to be a 9 that you've got to beat.
Okay, so yeah, I'd like to use intellect. And how do I choose the dice? Do I just click it?
You'll just click those ones, and then to add your bonus D6 from Eljal, you'll use that top right little button and drag and drop that 6 over into your pool.
I am trying to do that, but I'm having
it's kind of got to go like in a box at bottom of your dice. So you've got intellect in, and you'll just drag it a little bit below intellect, and it should go.
All right, let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Like the little dice just next to it, and then it expands to be a D4 through a D12, right?
Yep. And then you'll just drag over the 6.
It's not letting me.
I find that if you drag it over to just to the right of the word pool and drop it in, it might work.
All right, let me try that. Yeah, it's not letting me drag it.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
There it is. Oh no, sorry, that's for Rothna.
When you drag it, make sure you just click right on the D6 and just hold it as you pull over. Maybe it's just being finicky with the click box on the 6. Any luck?
No, if I refresh the page, will that mess anything up?
No, it shouldn't. You should be good to do that.
Let me just see if that helps me be able to click and drag it.
Fingers crossed, and if not, you can also,
there we go. Yep. I can do it now.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So I added the 6. We're going intellect. I would also like to maybe for values use mastery. I have through determination, I will outsmart them all.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
So, okay, perfect. And then I was thinking, I know you said this, if we perceive one of our distinctions as maybe a hindrance of sort, we could roll the smaller dice and take a plot point. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So I wanted to, maybe because I am a Durenian noble, I have no idea what this dance is.
Absolutely.
Not really seen it before.
Yeah, well, you can also imagine the kinds of dances you would do in sort of maybe a noble sphere versus the kinds of more folksy dances that you might do living out here in Moonshadow territory. Even just the way that you dance is very much different.
Right.
Different muscles.
Right. Okay, so I think that's it, yes?
I love it.
Okay, so that's how Vinaya is going into this, and we'll see what happens.
Ooh, there we go. So that is also a heroic success. So like everybody heroically
Yeah.
succeeded on this dance. So you did fantastic. You set that up to a D6. So it's definitely the least well done of the dances of the group, but it is passable. And you also do have a little hitch there, which, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that. I'm gonna give you an exhausted D6. This is just it's a lot of movement. It's a lot of movement.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and describe it from there, and then I will introduce you all to the town.
So much like you may have seen when small children are learning to dance for the first time, that they're really looking at their feet and doing the counts out loud. When you watch Vinaya execute this dance, she is watching her every motion, and you can watch her mouth 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So it's not graceful at all. But she is just trying her best to use her skill set to make this happen for Dallen. So she finishes the dance and just like just like emotionally exhausted. This is definitely not her comfort zone.
And you feel this pride for a moment, and you look to Dallen, and you kind of expect to see that same joy, but there's something that has Dallen a little bit more concerned. And in fact, everybody's sort of has a bit more concern. Because you can see now, as the kind of the gateway illusion fades, that you can see the marketplaces of the Hollow Wood, and there's some people around. You know, there's moon shadow elves. There's even a sunfire elf. There's a couple of humans holding cloaks over their heads, trying to just be, you know, a little low key. But you can see that the crops, like this is very much farms and markets, small, you know, mostly tents, some small homes, but spread out. All of these crops are withered, gray, wilted, and there's a lot of empty market stalls. It's not bustling. There's no joy that really is felt as you take this place in. And Dallen, you are used to this place being bustling. It is a hub. It's a trading hub. You will have Moonshadow elves, Skywing elves, Sunfire elves, maybe even some Earthbloods coming here and trading, humans coming and trading, and people getting along. And instead, you just see exactly what Tuluan said, that there's something gravely wrong in the Hollow Wood. And as you sort of take this in, you know, you've been noticed as you've kind of waited for the rest of the dances to happen. You've seen a couple people who recognize you, and one who did, an assassin Moonshadow elf that you're familiar with, Pandine, kind of pretty sure that she saw you, but she didn't come over. She didn't wave. She kind of moved away. She disappeared into one of the tents. And as Vinaya finishes and is now able to see the same place that the rest of you are, Pandine emerges from a tent with another Moonshadow elf. And you see this older woman with this beautiful silver staff. She's got kind of this short-cut white hair, there's a piece of metal decorative piece kind of holding a bun up above her head, tattoos marking her status, these silver rimmed glasses and these deep blue robes, and there is a Xadian songbird just sitting at the top of her staff that just as she moves with it gets a little jostled and kind of flies off and perches on one of the tents. And you recognize this elf as Gwennon, as one of you know, the senior Moonshadow elves of the community. And as the person that Tuluan intimated would be the new elder. And she approaches a little, you can see kind of the hard lines of her face, that these haven't been easy months. She looks older than she should. And she approaches, though, with this still the same kindness that you recognize in her. And she takes in this strange collection of people, but focuses in on you. Draylen, welcome home.
What's happened?
Well, quite a lot, actually. I think that perhaps we can talk. I think you might actually be the answer we've been looking for. I'm so glad to see you. Please, everyone, I am Elder Gwynn of the Hollow Wood. It's an honor to meet you all. And kind of turns for introductions.
Right, I brought help. This is Vinaya.
Hello, I'm here on behalf of the Queen, but also here on behalf of Draylen to help in whatever way I can.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
And this is
That a
Eldar.
human queen would send someone to help us. I think things are certainly changing in Xadia.
We should all be
And,
so hopeful.
And a Sunfire elf as well. Were you sent from Luxaria?
So, is Tuluan with us? Obviously, they can't enter the city or town because they're ghost.
You turn back and you can see Tuluan sort of like standing there. They can see that, these familiar bodies of people. They can't see much else. And as they watch, you see in their face just like kind of the pain and the regret, and they just can't bear to keep watching. They just turn away and they just kind of go back to they're sort of like fixing up a tent for themselves out here, and they're really trying not to like pay attention to what's happening.
And where's the primal well in that case?
Well, we haven't specified, so I will leave that to you. Potentially Tuluan can be taking care of it, or either you or Eljal perhaps can take care of it.
I think you did mention that Tuluan was wearing the special gloves to carry it earlier.
Yeah, wearing the armor, it certainly could have been switched around, but Tuluan is happy to kind of look after the primal well until it is needed.
I'm okay with Tuluan still holding on to it.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that if we leave them outside the town with the well while we're in here, then random people may just sneak up and take it. And as good a mage as Tuluan is, I also think that by themselves is a bit of a problem. So maybe I want to have convinced them before we go to have me take the armor, and I'll have the well with me.
Absolutely. So yeah, you're holding this well, and she's looking at you can tell she's a mage. She recognizes the symbols immediately, but can't quite connect, what purpose it might hold. Were you sent by Luxaria?
No. I am here on behalf of someone else, an agent that has gone to help secure this for your town and to make this town recover from what its current plague is. And I know that you know who I'm talking about.
Another scheme, then, of Tuluan's? Is that what this is? I will hear it, but I'm not surprised. Please, and after finishing introductions with Eljal and Rothna, we cut to inside of Gwynen's tent, where you guys have kind of a more detailed discussion with Gwynnen. So you've now kind of explained what the primal well is generally, and obviously now she knows that Tuluan is involved in this, and she seems a little exasperated by that. And not in a way, she doesn't seem like she hates Tuluan, that she's angry at Tuluan. You just get the sense that the idea of using a plan from somebody that was ghosted, from somebody that failed, is a little sour. That idea is a little sour. So she invites you in, she settles herself, the songbird kind of comes in, and as she kind of leans her staff, it just kind of finds a comfortable perch. All right then, so let me first tell you a little bit about what's going on here, because I don't know if we need Tuluan at all. Because Draylen, you've always had a special connection with creatures here. There is something that is wrong. There's a creature that we've never seen before. It's strange. They're worms. They're these thick black worms, and they're eating all the crops, and it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter how we try to move them out or take care of them even. I was opposed to killing them at first, but we've tried it, and even that, they just keep seeming to multiply or escape and come back and spread. And they're eating everything. We're running low on food. People have left, trying to find something elsewhere. Our trade has gone down because we don't have much to trade. But if anybody can talk to a creature, even one as strange as this, perhaps it's you.
I hope so. I'm turning to Benai. I told you all about this place, but it should be full. It should be full of people. It should be full of vendors and noise and various animals and crops everywhere. But how long? How long has it been like this?
Too long. Months. And they just keep spreading. We've switched as much as we can to crops that grow as fast as possible, so we lower the risk of them being devoured, but it's not enough. The hollow wood is going to die if we can't do something.
Well, I'll try. I'd be happy to try.
Good. And hopefully
one of
that
these.
works.
Do you have one of these worms to look at?
Pandine was out last killing some. I'll see if she has, and she just writes a very swift note, curls it up with kind of just a little wave. You see as like the staff just glows a little bit, wraps this up, and the Xadian bird just kind of grabs it and flutters out. Pandine might have some specimens left, but hopefully what Dallen has, whatever special thing it is about you, will work, and we won't have to use whatever silly plan Tuluan's thought of, but fair play enough. You've traveled this far. What is their plan?
Oh, it's quite simple. This here is a very, very potent primal source of sky and earth magic, and it was used once to lift a Skywing city up above Xadia. It's that good. That city is no longer up in the skies of Xadia. It's a long story. We don't need to go too much into it here, but we did recover this artifact from the middle of it, and I believe Tuluan's plan was to use its power to similarly raise the Hollowwood, bringing it free from whatever problem it's had down here, and then elevate it.
And how do they plan to do that? How do they have a plan to install it?
Did Tuluan share that with us, Mellie?
Tuluan shared that they believe that Oz Illumina will be able to help with the primal well.
That's right, yeah. Oh, yes. Well, we have to have a conversation with Oz Lumina first to further that plan.
And Gwenin is just stunned to silence for a moment and looks to Dallen. Are you a part of this plan?
You know, I would never, but Tuluan said it might help.
So the plan is to go to Oz Lumina, give her a powerful relic, and convince her to use it to help us.
Well, why not? I know we try to leave her alone, but
this is going to be a contest. So I'm going to say, Babakar, this is mostly your argument, but I will say, Dallen, because you've sort of been helping with a little bit of extra sort of what you have as a connection to this place, I'll give you the opportunity. One of the things that you can do to help somebody else out in Tales of Xadia is you can step down one of your values to step up the same value for another character for the duration of a test, contest, or challenge. And that will stay stepped down for you until the end of the session, which, we're close to anyways. So you can, Babukar, what value do you think you would want to use to try and convince Gwennon here?
So it's not going to be Liberty because that's a D4. I think that's the kind of thing that I don't really care about freeing this town from whatever. It's not about freedom. It's about doing what's right, which for me is justice. And I'm also bringing in this fact that if we do this and it's succeeded, that means that Tuluan's whole thing will be resolved. And that's justice for Tuluan, so that's great. And that's currently a D8.
Absolutely. So, Draylen, what is your justice value?
Mine is a D8.
So if you'd like to, you can step that down till the end of the session, and then Babukar can step his justice up to a D10 for this contest.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that. Is there a way for me to write that down?
I don't think so, other than just like on a note sheet for right now.
Got it.
But hey, we're close. And then Babukar. So this is a contest. You are trying to convince Gwennon to kind of go along with this plan.
So
go ahead and build a dice pool.
I'm trying to convince them. And that's the thing, is that I don't have very good influence, but that's what I'm using.
And I will say as well, you can use influence, but you can also, try to convince people in other ways. You can, use information to try to use intellect, truth. You can give me an argument for another attribute if you think it fits with your argument more.
So what I'm doing is I'm going to lead off with influence, and then if I find that's not going to work out so good, and she counters back, then I'm going to step up my game a little bit.
I love it.
I'm leaving some in reserve. So basically, I'm starting off with this whole, because Babakar's like, he's an interrogator. He's also a battle mage. He's got this whole sort of like demeanor that he uses. It's pointless to use that against a regent in the town. So I'm starting off with that negative side of it.
Love it.
So I'll use the influence. I've got my justice set up to D10 now. This is not going to work out well for me because of my, like I said, I'm used to sort of berating people and making them do what I want that way. So I'm going to use my D4. Hot-headed fire mage is getting in my way, but I get a plot point.
Love it.
I do have sun magic. That's not going to help me necessarily explain this to her either. I do have crafting. I don't think either of those are really applicable. So I'm starting this whole contest with this 6, a 10, and a 4.
Love it. So go ahead and roll those. And for those of you watching, and hey, new folks in the group here, a contest is going to go back and forth between, it could be a player character and a player character. In this case, it's a player character and a narrator character. And it'll go back and forth until either somebody does not beat whatever difficulty was set, or one of the characters decides to give in and let the other person sort of, yes, okay, I'm going to let you have what you want in this contest. I'm going to get a plot point. I'm going to kind of define the terms of my failure. Whereas if you lose the contest, they don't necessarily get what they want, but you're going to get stress. So then it can continue and you might get more and more stress. It might become more difficult to hold your own. So go ahead and roll those dice, Cam. Let's see what you get.
Yeah, and speaking of stress, I do have that D6
injury, yeah.
Stress. I don't know whether it's going to be...
Or D8 injury, even.
Oh, D8, is it? Ugh. I'm not sure if that's going to be a problem for this or if it's not, but we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Or sorry, no, it is a D6 injury.
Yeah. So a 10, that's my current.
Alrighty, 10. I don't think your injury would play into this situation, so I'm not going to add that. But Gwen is a catalyst. A catalyst is going to be able to change with the way that you all choose to interact with them. Currently, she has a catalyst die of a D8, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And I think this is going to be her... This is going to be her truth. Politics are important, but she separates their noise from real leadership. She's trying to balance this idea of all these different people coming to her from different places with doing what's best for the Hollowwood. So got that. This is going to be her empathetic elder distinction. And, I'm gonna also put it, I think, her politics specialty. So we'll go in tete-a-tete here. So let's go ahead and see if I can beat a 10 with those 4 dice. I can get a 10, exactly. As the narrator, I do have 1 plot point per player. I could spend it and keep this contest going, because in Cortex, you have to beat it to yeet it. So it means that I have to get a higher result in order to succeed. So I don't succeed with the 10. She'll take stress in this case, and she will lose the contest, or I can spend a plot point and keep it going. I think in this case that she's going to lose. Okay. So she's going to take some stress. You had a D4 effect die, so it's just going to be the base level of stress. We'll get a D6. What kind of stress would you like to give her?
So I'm going to give her. I'm going to give her insecure stress. I want her to feel a little bit insecure about her decisions in the past, or at least her people's decisions. And this doesn't necessarily convince her to do what she wants, I guess, until you decide that's true, I guess. But yeah, so I'm using my kind of gruff thing, and it's all about, hey, your decision what you did wasn't wrong, and you're making bad choices. You should listen to our choice.
And she opens her mouth to respond as you and Draylen are both kind of trying to convince her of this. Like, she's going to push this point. She's going to debate it. She second guesses it because of that insecurity. And in that moment that she does, that assassin elf returns, Pandine. So you see, it doesn't look like their current assassin, not wearing kind of that garb, but they, have that look to them. You can just tell by looking, especially Eljal. You can tell by looking at them, assassin, and they even kind of look at you for a moment as they enter, and you just have that immediate connection between you. But it also reminds you of your last experience with a contract that you had. And they look away. They're holding a sack, and they toss it down. Gwennon. And Gwennon, now distracted, looks exhausted. You can just see it come through, and she looks down at this sack as chest kind of opens, and you see one of these thick black worms tumble out. This sack, this is a pretty large sack, just full of them. And her face hardens as she fixes her gaze on them, and then turns to you, Babukar, looks at Draylen, looks at this other assortment of strangers, says, all right, if Draylen's not able to do it, I'm willing to give Tuluin's plan a try. And that is where we'll end today's session. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you also to Dan Telfer, who wrote this tale. Thank you to Wonderstorm and the Dragon Prince for the world of Xadia, which I love so very much. We will be back here next week with the next episode, finding out what is happening here in the Hollow Wood at 3 p.m. PT. And this episode will also appear on YouTube on Monday. Don't forget to check out, talesofxadia.com. You can play the game right now for free, and you can pre-order the book. To close out, hey folks, where can people find you on the internet? Cam, where can people find you?
You can find me at BoyMonster on Twitter, and the Rusty Sellsword on the Instagrams, and always at the Discord for Cortex RPG, where I hang out once in a while and answer questions that are thrown at me, which tends to be fairly often. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Fantastic. Aliza.
You can find me at Aliza Pearl on Twitter and Instagram, at Apisa Lisa on Twitch, and also I'm streaming Witcher 3 on Ripley Improv on Tuesdays and some Fridays. And please definitely follow me on Twitter, and if you can, throw a donation for Founders and Legends. I'm playing with the Gax Packs this Sunday, and we are raising funds for the Children's Miracle Hospital Network. I think I said all those words, maybe not in the right order, but they're doing amazing work for kids who are dealing with illnesses. So help me reach my fundraising goal, please. I will tweet that out right after this.
Perfect. Amy?
I can be found everywhere at Enthusiamy and over on D&D Beyond, and this has been a blast, and everybody support the Gax Pack fundraiser. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, Michael.
Hey, you can find me on Twitter at Michael Galvis, and also on D&D Beyond.
Love it. And Trisha.
Support Aliza's fundraiser for the kids. If you want to find more of my stuff, I'm at that girl Trish with no I in the girl on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And here on Twitch, it's just my name, Trisha Hershberger. I stream 4 to 5 days a week and have a real nice time. Shout out to the Dragon Riders who are in chat today. It's nice to see some familiar names. Thank you for being here. And thank you for having me here. This has been my first foray into Tales of Xadia, and it's been a great time. So thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you all so very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we will see you here next week. Bye, everybody.